All right, at this time, we have a special hearing. Sit down, boys. We have a special hearing tonight on the Fields Indian Creek Ordinance 1142. It's an agenda on your desk. And at this point, I will turn it over to the solicitor for solicitor's comments.
Okay, thank you, Mr. President. Just to give you background what this is an ordinance, and anyone who wishes a copy of it may obtain one. Just raise your hand and we'll give it to you, but I can give you a nutshell of it. It's adding 5.52 acres within the borough into the age-qualified community overlay zone in the Indian Creek area. So it'll expand the age-qualified zone within the borough. Let me put a few things on the record. Initially, there was a notice given of this public hearing. There was a notice also of the potential enactment of the ordinance for later at the regular meeting. We have sent notices to both the JPC and the Emmaus Planning Commission. We have sent notices with a copy of the ordinance to the Department of Law. The matter is now ready for a public hearing, and there will be potential action on the ordinance tonight. Now, when we use the term public hearing, this is not like the kind of thing where there's cross-examination and like a legal public hearing. This is a hearing where you can basically express your desires or your feelings on this matter for council and help them with the determination. I would like to state for the record that on 8/17/16, we received a letter, and I say we, meaning the solicitor's office, received a letter from Upper Milford Township Board of Supervisors objecting to this amendment because they felt that it was not in conformance with, well, I'll read the exact verbiage. Therefore, it is the opinion of the Upper Milford Township PC and Board of Supervisors that the amendment as proposed would allow development in the area depicted for conservation use in southwestern Lehigh County Comprehensive Plan to exceed the density recommended, making it inconsistent with the plan. Today, a letter came in, although it was dated August 31. This was sent to the Borough of Emmaus from the Lower Macungie Planning Commission, objecting to this amendment, claiming this will increase traffic on Indian Creek Road. I guess they don't care about traffic at the warehouses, but the Indian Creek Road they do. That's an editorial comment. The bottom line is we are now opening the floor for public comment. So if there's any member of the public that wishes to be heard on this, now's the time to do it. You're not being sworn in. You just get to express your opinion and what you think is best as concerns this ordinance. And basically, all it's doing is expanding the AQC to include an extra 5.52 acres. Would anyone like to be heard on this issue? Okay, let the record indicate that no one wishes to be heard. Would anyone on council like to express anything at the public hearing, or would you rather reserve your right to express your comments if and when this comes up for vote?
Mr. Solicitor, I have a question with regard to if Upper Milford does object to us passing this, does it affect the project at all, what their input is?
No.
Okay, thank you.
My question is, it's probably something that hasn't happened in so long because we have so few development projects, but at least in Emmaus, is there an example of where we have gone against what the plan has said? And then in turn, have Lower Macungie and Upper Milford also been, have they been equally consistent in upholding the
I
original
can't, I
plans.
can't answer the second question if they've been equally consistent. I only can tell you what I've read in the newspaper of especially Lower Mac's actions. Upper Milford probably has been relatively consistent, but remember, a comprehensive plan is a generalized scope of what you hope the area would be. It is not binding. It's like a guide. And you have to look each time, especially if you're going to do something that's not quite in conformance with that plan, as to whether it is to benefit the borough more than the detriment to the community or other communities around it. So I can't, as I say, I can't answer the specific question.
Well, and with that being said, though, I would question when we talk about Upper Milford, and I don't know what their conservation area is, but I find it ironic that we got that letter as well, considering over 150 houses are being built literally on the same property in their township. So when they
not
talk
a-
about conservation district, when they talk about, and I get that it's a different tract of land, but it's the same golf course. So we can get as technical as we want. We're just adding 20 houses onto our part of the project.
Well, that
is-
was partially what I was trying to understand, is how did this come out to be different than what we had previously talked about and not received letters of concern?
Well, because they were profiting on that. I mean, that's part of their development. Now, with that said, I'm not trying to disrespect Upper Milford in any way, because they did issue a lot of concerns throughout
Oh, absolutely.
the original part. But at the end of the day, they signed the same documents we signed, and they get 100 and I don't know how many houses in their township on a golf course that was a conservation district.
Right.
So
You're
when you talk about
asking,
consistency, I question the same thing.
it probably is not consistent, if you want the truth, but they're probably looking out for what's best for their community.
Sure. I mean, I kind of asked that to create that discussion of, that's how I interpreted it. It seemed out of place, but I also wanted to be sure that it wasn't something that we were completely bucking the trend of where we've
Yep.
gone. But clearly, it was already demonstrated that they had gone against that
Yeah, I
right
do
there.
believe that Upper Milford works very hard to preserve as much of their
They do.
their open space as they can. So
Oh.
it doesn't go. I don't think it goes against their overall philosophy.
Yeah.
Well, interestingly, the JPC just said this is a matter of local concern.
Okay.
So they would be the ones who would really come down on something that would be adverse.
No, and that's fine, and yes, I don't want it to be interpreted as that, I think that they're going against their judgment. I mean, as a whole, I know how this process has gone, and I think they've been probably the most strict of anyone that's been in this discussion, so.
Yes.
And I think overall, I mean, the three municipalities that have participated have taken a serious look at it, which I think is very important for everyone in our community. So I just wanted to understand, make sure that I'm not missing something, why we're getting, being told that we're going against it, yet
Well,
it seems
they're
to
the
have been
ones-
just done.
They're the ones who are
A
making
few
those
months ago.
comments. They have a right to make them.
Yeah.
We will include
Okay.
them with the record of the public hearing. I mean, it's a part of the hearing. We don't have a transcript of the hearing, but we do have, obviously, a videotape and audio
Yeah.
tape of it. So.
That's fine.
Any
I
other
understand it
comments
now, no.
from council? Yes.
You may or may not be able to answer this, but can somebody remind me, is there going to be an access point then off of South Cedar Crest at North Street by any chance?
No.
If they're adding 20 homes?
That is not in the plan.
That is not.
No,
Uh,
and I don't believe.
You don't see it
they-
being added?
I don't see PennDOT wanting to deal with anything on Cedar
Okay.
Crest.
I would tend to agree with that. I don't think that will happen.
So all this traffic then will go out to Indian Creek Road like Lower Mac said? Is that
Yes.
correct? Okay, thank you.
Any other comments, any comments from the public? With that, we will adjourn the public comment section. I'll turn it back over to the president of council, and he may go into the, either formally adjourn the meeting or immediately proceed to our regular meeting.
Mr. Solicitor, I just want to state for the record that all council are present, the mayor and borough manager and yourself, so.
Thank you.
So we'll adjourn from the public hearing at 7:10, and we go right into our council meeting as soon as I turn my iPad back on. I'd like to welcome everyone to the Emmaus Borough Council. At this time, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, we'll have personal appeals, part one. If anyone has an appeal, please sign in, state your name, and you have 5 minutes for your appeal.
I'm Martha Lieberman, and I live at 333 Ridge Street. We actually have two problems at the corner of 4th and Ridge. The plates that they put on the handicap ramps, the one there is completely cracked. There's pieces missing. So when we go up with walkers and stuff, even some of the wheels, they're catching on there and falling.
Explain to me,
4th and Ridge.
yeah, but we're talking about the handicap on the ramps. Explain to me a little bit.
The bumps?
It's looked like some kind of plate that they put on there.
Those bumps.
Are you talking about
It's for the blind.
Yeah,
It's for
okay.
the blind.
rubber matting,
So
right?
those are wearing.
It's completely broken off in like a quarter of it almost.
Okay.
And the other is, on 4th Street at the same corner, we have lost one handicap parking spot. We used to have 3, we're down to 2. You all know parking over there is an issue. We cannot park across the street because the person who lives there threatens us and does all kinds of stuff to the cars. So we're losing more parking spaces. And honestly, the handicapped people cannot be walking from up by the church or 2 blocks away. And that's what's happening. Ridge Manor doesn't have enough parking. We rely on street parking.
Can we refer that to public safety?
So are you asking for additional handicap spots on 4th? Is that what you're looking for?
If we can have our 3rd spot back.
Okay, all right.
Do you know when that was removed? When we went from 3 to 2?
Relatively recent when they came out and repainted, because we never had the lines designating the spots.
Which means it may have never been ordained.
That's possible.
Okay,
And
We'd have to
normally,
look back.
a handicap spot is given to an applicant, and through your procedure, to make sure that they have the necessary prerequisites for a handicap. It's not a personal parking spot, as you point out. Anyone who's handicapped can park there. But normally, there is some resident who comes in and applies. This is the first time I've heard of a general application for a handicapped parking spot that does not at least dovetail with a handicapped person.
We have them at the church.
Yeah, we did it with the
Yeah, we
church.
did it at the church.
You can do it with, well, it has been done with the church, but it's not, the customary way is
Yeah,
someone
yeah.
living on the street, they have a handicap documentation, they can come in and show their handicap and why they need it, and then you can ordain it. The law really isn't set up, it isn't written in such a way that you can just pick handicap spots throughout your community.
Well, so let me ask you, if one of their residents from Rich Manor showed up here and made the request
They could do it.
personally,
They could do it.
then that fits more within the scope of.
It sure does. And then you can check to make sure that they have the necessary documentation, the doctor has certified it, they have a handicap. It can be done. I'm just saying it's not, what normally, what the law does not envision is us saying, okay, we're gonna put 5 handicap spots on this street and 4 over here. No, it doesn't, because they're given to a applicant, even though anyone can park there that's handicapped.
Yeah.
But it's usually at the request of an applicant.
Okay. So thank you for bringing those forward. I will refer that to the Safety Committee, Public Safety Committee.
Just
Um,
one other notice. I am alarmed by the fact you said someone threatens people
Oh,
who
yeah,
park in
he
the area.
has yelled. My mother was 93. and he came out and yelled at her because she parked on his side of the street.
I
He's
would
left
I would
notes.
refer that to the, to the police when it does occur.
I've done that, but
Okay.
I'm never, the people that he's come down on, that he's yelled at, they're not willing to come up. He hasn't yelled at me yet, and I'm hoping he does one day, because
Because it is public, a public street. I mean, there should be, anyone can park.
Anyone
can
park
Anywhere.
there. Right,
So
but it's
if
a
it does
piece-
occur, please, though, don't hesitate.
Okay.
Please have the police come out and let them resolve.
So what you're saying is he believes he has a private parking spot?
Right, and he takes up the whole section between Third Street and the alley, whatever that is. They've got like 5 cars between the 2 houses. And they block it, so nobody can pull in there until they come home. Then they move the car, because there's not enough space. When somebody comes home from there, then they move the other car so car can fit in. They do it in the wintertime. They just clear their spots. It's been an issue since I'm here, and I know before it's been.
We should really have the police look into that.
All I can say is he used to work for the borough, and whether that has anything to do with it, because I complained to the police. They came out and they marked his tires, and that was it. The car sat for almost a full year, never moved. So they marked his tires, but unfortunately, they're not doing it.
I'll talk to the chief of police tomorrow morning at staff meeting.
Okay. The other thing, I've got a question about the minutes. Can I say that now?
Sure, you still have some time.
Okay, in the minutes from last time, you mentioned that I gave the donation towards Project Lifesaver. The donation came from the fundraiser, and because of certain circumstances, if we can change that and mention that it was not me personally giving my money, it was.
Well, I think that was meant that you actually gave it to us, but we'll take note, and I'll ask them to note the correction in this council meeting's minutes. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wes, did you have something else to say?
No, it was resolved.
Okay, thank you. Any other public appeals? Hearing none. Anyone have a community minute? Oh, I'm sorry.
Hello, my name's Stephen Gould. I own 112 Main Street rear. I've got some printouts for everybody.
And can you please sign in?
Yep.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch your address. What was the address?
The address is 112 Main Street rear.
Oh, thank you. Oh, the other side.
We'll figure it out.
Can you just make sure I get one of those copies?
Here, you can have this one. This all deals with Public Works.
So I tried to put together as good of a report as possible, just so you know the area in question. Behind the magistrate's office is a small alleyway. I have a program. I'm in the business of real estate, and the program I have kind of undefines the property as an unknown entity, which it does for most of the streets. So when you take your cursor over and you don't click on a certain parcel, all of the streets that are being maintained by the Borough of Emmaus say the same thing as these 2 streets. So I'm just trying to get question on, there's an area there, I have some pictures on here that have some incredibly deep and wide potholes. I can't get through it with my car. I bottom out every time. That is the area that I believe the borough uses to maintain the property, which is 44 Kleins. There's a grass field down there that's kind of at the bottom part of the Moravian Church and so forth. So I'm really coming to the borough to see if we can get some kind of resolution on who maintains this roadway. There's no deed easements, or there's no maintenance agreements between any of the property owners. I listed all of the different properties that this roadway affect, but right now the main issue is directly behind on the north side of 106 Main Street, which is there. So I just threw together a couple things here to try to make a case of saying, can we look into it? I know that there's some backhoes right there at 44 Klein Street where they could come down maybe real quick and do a quick swipe, maybe drop some more stone. It's brutal in the wintertime when you see all the people along the backside of that trying to shovel out and trying to use snow blowers. It's a mess. It's an eyesore, and I think it's also a safety hazard now.
Thank you for bringing that forward. We'll have the Public Works Committee address that. We'll find out who owns that alley first, and if it is the borough, we can look at patching it, but we'll have Public Works address that.
I'm gonna have to look at some deed paperwork on this, because right off the top of my head, the first thing I thought was we don't own that. We may.
Well,
which means
I'm
we're
pretty
gonna have to
sure you
go-
don't own it.
Yeah, which means we're gonna have to go into the dungeons and look who owns it and maintains it. If the borough, if it's not the borough's street, I can't speak for them, but I think our legal advice will be that we're not going to maintain it. But let us look into it and at least explore it. I kind of find it surprising that our guys would use that, though, to maintain that when we have access right off of South First.
So I don't think there's a fence or there's some kind of barrier from where that maintenance building is to get down to that open grass field. I believe they have to trailer in or maybe go down onto Main Street.
Okay, I understand what you're saying. So
yeah.
we might back in or pull in through it.
True. I kind of pulled that out of my hat to just try to make
Oh,
this
that was,
sound a
that
little
was
bit more.
strategy.
It's a
Okay,
little strategy.
I got you. I got you.
but-
It all comes out.
Yeah.
Pretty good, though.
No, Steve, well, I'll look into it, though, and I'll
Cool.
talk to John Dyschau again tomorrow at our staff meeting, and we'll do a little bit of research on it and see how much we use it. But I think there may have been a conflict a number of years ago on this dirt alley with whoever had owned it. So, because I remember a discussion about adamantly that belongs to somebody. So that's why out of the top of my head, I
Well,
thought that there was.
If you look at the first map I have, the second page, the whole area that I'm really showing in question goes straight out to Main Street as well. And I believe the owner of 112 Main Street, the front property,
Okay.
it's a confusing address as it is whenever you have a rear. That property is actually paved all the way down next to his property. So whether he deems that his roadway or not, I know that he automatically maintains it, but it still shows on the tax maps as the same type of road.
Okay.
But it affects him and it affects the magistrate's property. This back one where there's the issues really affects the borough's property, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 other parcels.
All right, thank you. Nate, when
Thank
is
you.
your next committee meeting?
The next committee meeting is September 12th, Monday, which is next week at 3 PM here. So if you can make it, Steve.
That's
Is that
one-
something you want me to do?
Yeah, if you can get
If
here.
you're able to come there, I mean,
Yeah, if not, we'll keep.
I mean, even if he can't, we'll research.
it will
it
still be,
between now
it will
and
still be addressed, but if you're able to be
Monday,
there.
3?
Monday at 3.
3.
Yeah, if you can't get here, give us your contact info, and at least we'll keep you in the loop.
Good.
That's-
Cool. That's all. Really all I'm asking for is just kind of a look at this thing, and either that or I have to get 5 other property owners to try to put some kind of an easement agreement together when it's really just another 40 feet for a truck to just,
Right.
you know.
Well, and it may be, I mean, if we use that area, and even if we don't own it, maybe there's an agreement that we would put in place with whoever does own it. I mean, I think there's a couple different options we would just need to look at and explore. Because
Okay.
it is a dirt road.
Yep.
We may not plow it, but as far as filling in some potholes that we may or may not cause.
I talked to Jim about it. He did not know who laid the last layer of aggregate. Because it goes straight back all the way to 128.
Yeah, I mean, we have a couple public works guys that have been here for 30-plus years, so if it's been done,
Still no.
if it was done by us within the last 30 years, they would remember. This is probably as close to an answer as you're gonna get with that.
This is great. This was fun for me. Thank you.
Thank you. Any more appeals? Hearing none, we'll go to special presentations, which we have none. Reading of the minutes.
Excuse me, Mr. President,
Yes.
can we go back to community minute?
Yes.
Oh, yes, we can. What do you have for community minute?
This Thursday is Community Heroes Day at the library, starting at 6 PM. But at 5 PM at the Remembrance Garden, there will be 2 bricks installed for 2 members of our emergency services, and I'm not going to give you their names now. but that's
So
to
it's a
take place.
surprise, I take it?
Well, maybe, I'm not sure.
Hoping?
I don't think so, but
Okay.
that's starting at 5 o'clock at the Remembrance Garden,
And that is
Thursday the
Thursday,
8th.
this Thursday. Thank you. A second community?
Yes, actually, I have
Minute?
two. The first one comes from the Halloween Parade Committee. They asked me to relate to the public that we are in need of volunteers to help with the parade this year. They are actually at least 6 to 8 people down to man the parade during it, and they're really in need of volunteers. There was an article in the East Penn Press recently regarding it, and I believe there was an email. They can contact Kathy Mincer regarding the parade, but if anybody can help, it's one of the biggest event, or the biggest event here in Emmaus, and to keep it going strong, you need some volunteers for it.
Thank you.
And then the second one was just a quick reminder that the St. Anne's Festival starts, I believe, Thursday?
Thursday.
Thursday evening and runs through Saturday. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to council meeting minutes. Is there a motion to approve the August 15th council meeting minutes? Councilman Brown, seconded by Councilwoman Gilbert. Questions, additions, or corrections?
Just the correction that was
We're going to note that in
in there. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Anybody else? All those in favor? There are 7 ayes. We have no decisions on bids. Communications, we have 2 letters of resignation. Dear Kathleen Mincer, please accept this letter of my formal resignation as a volunteer for the Emmaus Recreation Entertainment Commission effective immediately. I want to thank you for the knowledge and experience I've gained by volunteering for the commission. Being on the commission has taught me a great deal. I will be able to use the skills I have learned for the rest of my life. I'm grateful that I was on the commission. Sincerely, Megan Melnick. Can you send a letter of thank you for her? And we received a letter of resignation from Chief David Nelson. Shane, thank you for the opportunity to serve the Borough of Emmaus. It truly has been a pleasure to work with you and the rest of the Borough Council and staff. I regretfully am giving my 2 weeks' notice to end my employment on September 16th. I shall be starting with Whitehall Fire Department on the 19th. Again, I appreciate the opportunity, and if there is anything I can do to assist the borough or anyone, please do not hesitate to ask. Sincerely, David Nelson. Do we have to accept that resignation? No, I didn't think so. Anybody else have any letter of communication that they want to bring forward? All right. No borough engineers report, solicitors report.
Very briefly, I have received the LCA draft settlement agreement. I have not reviewed it yet. I will have it reviewed within the next week or two, and I'll give it to Shane so he can distribute it for your review and comments. That's all I have, Mr. President.
Thank you. Moving on to unfinished business, part 1, we have a second reading of ordinance 1142. Has it been properly advertised?
Yes, I'm sorry.
And I was wondering, did you answer and I didn't hear it?
I'm trying to catch up here.
All right, ordinance 1142, an ordinance amending the Borough of Emmaus zoning ordinance of 1993 as amended by amending the zoning map of June 21st, 1993, as amended for the purpose of designating as an age-qualified community overlay district a 5.52 acre tract of land located in the north of Chestnut Street, State Route 29, and to the west of Cedar Crest Boulevard, the same being part of the Robert K. Young Trustee Tract Emmaus, Lehigh County, Pennsylvania. Is there a motion to approve ordinance 1142? Councilman Anders, is there a second? Councilwoman Gilbert, any questions or discussion? Hearing none, this is a roll call vote. Councilman Brown?
Aye.
Councilman Schubsta?
Aye.
Councilman Anders?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gilbert?
Aye.
Councilman Dufresne?
Aye.
Councilman Barrett?
I'm abstaining.
Councilman Labenberg is aye. There'd be 6 ayes and 1 abstention. Moving to new business, we have ordinance 1145 for first reading. Has that been properly advertised?
No. We don't advertise the first reading.
Thank you. Wasn't a trick question. All right. Ordinance 1145, an ordinance of the Borough of Emmaus, Lehigh County, Pennsylvania, amending Chapter 15, subsection 602.2.a of the Emmaus Borough Code, removing a residential handicapped parking sign on the public street located in front of 227 North 7th Street and 520 North 3rd Street, and adding a residential handicapped parking sign on the public street located in front of 569 Furnace Street within the Borough of Emmaus. Is there a motion to approve ordinance 1145? Councilman Brown, second. Councilwoman Gilbert, any questions, additions? All right, roll call vote also. Councilman Brown?
Aye.
Councilman Schubsta?
Aye.
Councilman Anders?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gilbert?
Aye.
Councilman Dufresne?
Aye.
Councilman Barrett?
Aye.
Councilman Ladenburg? There are 7 ayes.
So the second reading will be Monday, October 3rd.
First meeting in October. Okay, thank you. Moving to unfinished business part 2, we have 2 ordinances. We have ordinance 1141 that will have first reading or second reading September 19th, which is our second meeting of this month, and ordinance 1144, second reading, same meeting, September 19th. The first one is the code's ordinance with regard to outdoor fires, fire prevention, etc. And ordinance 1144 is in reference to restricting parking on certain days and hours in front of 516 North Street. Anybody have an item not on the agenda? Mayor's report?
No, I'm not.
Committee report. Thank you. Committee reports. Chairman Brown, Public Works.
I'll report progress. Our next meeting is September 12th at 3 p.m. here in council chambers.
Thank you. Health, Sanitation, and Codes Committee, Chairman Schubsta.
I'll report progress. The only thing I have to mention is that the next electronic recycling will be October 3rd, and our next meeting is scheduled for, I think I have it written down here, yep, August 18th in council chambers. Progress.
Thank you. Parks and Recreation, Chairman Anders.
Yes, we met actually today in Borough
I'm
Chambers.
sorry.
The notes should be in the next in the next agenda. Nothing for official action this evening. I'll report progress.
Thank you. Public Safety Committee, Chairwoman Gilbert.
Thank you. I have several things for action this evening. Public Safety has been talking with Chief Faust, as well as the General Administration Committee met with, I'm sorry, Chuck. Chief Palmer. I guess that was, never mind. Can I start over? Can we rewind the tape on that one? No. Public Safety has been meeting with Chief Palmer, as well as General Administration. We met with Chief Palmer and Sergeant Apgar 2 weeks ago to discuss the possibility of hiring 3 full-time officers for tonight's meeting. As a result of those discussions, Public Safety did in fact vote this evening to recommend that we hire 3 full-time officers. At this point, I'll make it official and make the motion that we do hire 3 full-time officers, and I'll place that in the form of a motion.
There's a motion on the floor. Is there a second? Councilman Brown? Questions or discussion? Councilman Dufresne?
Are we doing this one at a time, or we're voting for all 3?
Well, the motion was to approve 3 officers.
Each officer will be brought up individually.
I'm not quite sure. I think the correct way to do this is one at a time.
I disagree, and I'll tell you that you haven't been part of the conversation. You will need to hire each one individually.
Individually, right.
Okay, so that you will need to do, but I think what the committee is looking for is, there's a debate as to whether to hire 2 or 3. And coming out of the committee tonight is a formal recommendation to hire 3. Because if they don't get that, then that changes what their recommendation is as far as hiring the individuals.
Right.
So they're asking to do a formal vote on
The 3 hires.
three first.
So then just a clarification, if we vote yes to the 3 here, it just depends on what 3 here.
Correct.
Okay?
Councilman Anders?
And-
Oh, you finished?
I'm gonna vote no here, just because I think it's short notice for me, because this is one extra that I was not aware of, and I had 4 days to think about it. That doesn't mean I don't think we need a 3rd. I just think I didn't have enough time to fully understand this.
Okay.
Are there any special contingencies on their employment that will be added in?
Each one of them will
Each
have
one will
special
have special,
contingencies,
okay.
yes.
Will that be when we vote individually?
When
Well,
you vote
so we-
individually.
All we're doing
So-
right
so
now
Right
is
now-
just saying just 3.
Each of them would still, well, they'll all have the same contingencies, and that is
Yeah.
psychological, physical, and probationary periods.
Okay.
So they would all have the same 3
I'm
contingencies.
used to hearing that, but I didn't, and that's why I wanted to
Just a
clarify.
point of clarification that I don't understand. If you decide to hire 3 as a generalized concept, and that's voted down, will that change in any way the 2 that you intend to hire? Potentially. You can't
No,
change the one
no.
because he's,
No.
No, because we're going through the order the way they were presented
Right,
from the
so
commission.
therefore I
We're not skipping
truly don't
anyone.
understand why we're doing it this way, but that's okay.
I would still suggest that you do it this way.
Councilman DeFranco?
Yes,
So then, if the 3 were to be a no vote, we would then possibly propose to hire 2.
Yes.
correct.
That's the way
Okay.
I understand the
Okay,
statement.
I just want, okay, I got it.
Councilman Brown?
Does the wording make a difference for you if we say fill vacancies of 3 spots?
No, it's not that. It's
It
that
doesn't,
normally
okay.
you would say, I moved to hire so-and-so.
I understand, but does.
I think part of it is they don't want to bring up a name and the guy gets shot down, or
I
girl.
get it.
Okay?
Yeah.
I got it.
That makes
I think that's where we are,
That's what we
because
don't wanna
we
do.
feel that all 3 are
Now,
very
that's a
qualified.
justifiable
I got it.
reason.
I think
That makes sense.
I think that's why we're doing this.
I got it.
Makes sense.
Okay, so is everybody on the same page? Any other questions? All those in favor? There are 7 ayes.
Okay.
No, wait, in favor of
The 3
3?
hires.
No.
Yes, you had stated before. Those opposed. So it's 6 ayes and 1 opposed, Councilman Dufresne. Thank you.
Okay. Now, the committee did meet officially this evening. We had met in executive session September 1st, and we conducted those interviews. And this evening, we formally met, and we are recommending the following. I'll make a motion to offer, conditional offer of employment to Don McGee as an EMAS police officer contingent upon the following. Must successfully pass a physical examination, must successfully pass a psychological examination, and must successfully complete a 1-year term of probation.
There's a motion on the floor. Is there a second? Councilman Brown, questions or discussion? Councilman Dufresne?
These are in order of preference,
These
correct?
will be in order.
Yes.
Okay, so if I vote no for any one of these 3, it's nothing against the individual. I just want that to go on record.
Okay. Anybody else? All those in favor? There are 7 ayes, rather.
The second one is to make a motion to offer, conditional offer of employment to Melanie Sayers as an EMAS police officer contingent upon the following. Must successfully pass a physical examination, must successfully pass a psychological examination, and must successfully complete a 1-year term of probation.
There's a motion on the floor. Is there a second? Councilman Brown? Questions, discussion? All those in favor? There are 7 ayes.
And the third one is a motion to offer conditional offer of employment to Kevin Miller as an EMAS police officer contingent upon the following. Must successfully pass a physical examination, must successfully pass a psychological examination, and must successfully complete a 1-year term of probation.
There's a motion on the floor. Is there a second? Councilman Brown, questions or discussion? Councilman
Just one
Anders?
Question, do we have a general area that they are to live in to be with our officers?
20 air miles.
20-year miles.
Within,
They have a year to move within
Within 1
20
year.
air miles.
Okay, all right, and all these candidates do,
they understand.
okay,
They're aware of that.
okay, thank you.
Any other comments or questions? All those in favor? There are 6 ayes. Opposed? 1 opposing. Councilman Dufresne.
Thank you. The next item is to hire a part-time EMT. This would be to hire Nicholas Fisher to the position of a part-time EMT. His hourly rate would be $13.58, and this offer of employment is contingent upon the successful completion of a skills assessment.
There's a motion on the floor. Is there a second? Councilman Brown? Questions, comments? All those in favor? There are 7 ayes.
Our next committee meeting is scheduled for September 7th, tomorrow. I don't believe there's anything else. At this point, I'll report progress.
Thank you, Chairwoman Gilbert. Moving on to General Administration Committee, Chairman Barrett.
Yes, bear with me. I just had it and moved it away. 1 second. We have one item that requires official action. It's a resolution for the Library Resolution 2016-Library. A mutual resolution between the Borough of Emmaus, Upper Milford Township, and Macungie Borough to support the Emmaus Public Library Keystone Grant application and to designate the Borough of Emmaus as the official applicant for the Keystone Recreation Grant. And I'll place that in the form of a motion.
There's a motion to approve Resolution 2016-Library. Is there a second? Councilwoman Gilbert, questions, discussion? I have a question. Why is it 2016-Library? Usually we have a number.
Which would be great if it was just us doing it, but it's, all 3 municipalities are signing the same resolution.
Okay, thank you.
So I had to make it.
I haven't seen it before,
I had
so
to make it generic.
That works.
General.
We had, one of the municipalities already signed it. So
Okay.
after, if you adopt it, we'll pass it on to McCungie.
And I guess sorry, I was gonna say for further clarification, it's to apply for a $500,000, the Keystone Recreation Grant is up to $500,000 grant.
Which you had already agreed to do.
Yes.
The state came back and said to the library, because there are 3 municipalities supporting them and they represent 3 municipalities, then we had to do a joint resolution and officially name Emmaus as the applicant.
Thank you. Are you good? All right. All those in favor? There are 7 ayes.
That is all that we have for official action. Our next meeting is September 14th at 9 a.m. Progress.
Thank you, Chairman Barrett. Budget and Finance Committee, that is myself. We have Resolution 2016-34, the bill list. Is there a motion to approve Resolution 2016-34? Councilman Barrett, is there a second? Councilwoman Gilbert, questions, discussions? All those in favor? There are 7 ayes. Next Budget and Finance meeting is September 19th here in Council Chambers at 6:45 before our next meeting. I'll report progress, Community Relations Planning and Development, Chairman Dufresne.
Our next lab report progress here, just a couple of things to talk about here. September 10th is our Emmaus Community Yard Sale. That's this Saturday. Also September 15th, there's a Thunderbird car show on Jubilee Street, right out here between 4th and 6th, right?
5th.
Fifth.
Down to 5th.
Okay. And then on September 18th, Sunday, Emmaus Main Street Partners has a Farewell to Summer event down here on the Triangle. Other than that, I report progress, and our next meeting is September 8th, 4 o'clock at Borough Hall.
Thank you, Chairman Dufresne. A lot of things going on in the borough.
Just one thing regarding the car show.
Okay.
Good. We did hand deliver to all the residents
To the neighbors?
that are along Jubilee as
Jubilee
well as
Street.
5th.
Good.
So I know that I was instructed to do that at the last.
I think it's
meeting.
important that we communicate to the residents about, traffic patterns and being aware of it, so I think that's good. And also, Chairman Dufresne, the community yard sale, there's a rain date, that's the next day then.
Sunday, yeah.
Right.
Rain date would be the next day.
All right, thank you. Personal appeals part 2. Anybody have an appeal? Hearing none, we'll move to Borough Manager's report.
We do need an executive session today. So I will ask Mr. President if we could have that. Otherwise, you have enough emails and memos for me to last a while. So, significant revenue and expense items for August are on your iPads if you have any questions regarding that. Budget time is upon us. The department managers submit next Monday, so I'm super excited about that. And we'll go from there. Any questions? All right, I'll report progress then.
So the executive session will be for personnel?
Yes.
Personnel. All right, so we'll recess at 7:45.
The last. All right.
We are reconvening at 8:19. Is there a motion to adjourn? Councilman Barrett, second. Councilman Anders, all those in favor? There are 7 ayes, meeting adjourned at 8:20.